We are drowning, not in water but in noise. Every single second of your waking life, your brain is under siege. Notifications pinging, deadlines looming, the endless scroll of bad news, the phantom vibration in your pocket. It is a relentless, low-level panic that has become the background radiation of modern existence. You feel it, don't you? That tightness in your chest. That inability to sit in a room alone for 5 minutes without reaching for your phone. We are a generation desperately trying to hack our way back to peace. We download mindfulness apps. We buy noise-canceling headphones. We pay therapists to help us just stop. But what if the most powerful technology for silencing that chaos wasn't invented in Silicon Valley? What if it was invented centuries ago? Not by a coder, but by mystics. What if the answer isn't a new app, but an ancient algorithm? Today, we are not talking about religion in the way you expect. We are talking about a miracle machine. We are going to look at the Holy Rosary, not just as a prayer, but as a catalyst for 3 specific, life-altering transformations. We're going to look at the biology, the psychology, and the raw spiritual power of these beads. Because the truth is, this isn't just for your grandmother. This is the unexpected miracle you have been waiting for. Let's get real about what is actually happening inside your body when you feel overwhelmed. It's physiological. Your cortisol spikes. Your heart rate variability becomes erratic. You enter a state of fight or flight. Even if you're just sitting at your desk, you are constantly scanning for threats. Now, the first unexpected miracle of the Rosary is not just feeling nice. It is a biological override of your nervous system. We call this the miracle of inner peace, but that phrase is almost too soft. It's more like the miracle of physiological regulation. Science is finally catching up to what monks have known for 1,000 years. There was a groundbreaking study published in the British medical journal, Hard Science, not wishful thinking, that analyzed people reciting the Rosary. They found something incredible. When you recite the Hail Mary, it takes about 10 seconds. That rhythm, 6 breaths per minute, is the mathematical sweet spot for the human body. Think about that. By simply following the rhythm of this ancient prayer, you are hacking your own biology. You are forcing your heart rate and your breath to synchronize. This stimulates the vagus nerve, the massive nerve highway that connects your brain to your gut and your heart. When you stimulate the vagus nerve, you physically cannot stay in fight or flight mode. You switch gears. You move into rest and digest. The anxiety physically leaves your muscles. So when you pick up those beads, you aren't just saying words. You are engaging in a form of somatic therapy. You are using the tactile sensation of the beads, the cold, hard feel of them against your fingertips, to ground yourself in reality, while the rhythmic chanting quiets the screaming part of your brain. It is the ultimate anti-anxiety medication, and it has no side effects. It doesn't empty your mind like secular meditation, which can sometimes leave you just staring into the void of your own thoughts. No, the Rosary fills the mind. It replaces the chaos of your internal monologue with a steady, divine heartbeat. But if the first miracle is about calming the body, the second miracle is about saving the mind. This is the miracle of resilience. And to understand this, we have to understand how human beings process trauma. When bad things happen to us, when we lose a job, when a relationship shatters, when we get a terrifying diagnosis, we tend to spin. We tell ourselves a story of victimhood. Why me? This is unfair. My life is over. We loop these negative narratives until they become our reality. The Rosary shatters that loop. It is a tool for cognitive reframing. When you pray the Rosary, you are forced to look at your life through a different lens. The lens of the mysteries. You aren't just thinking about your pain. You are overlaying your pain onto the life of Jesus and Mary. Imagine you are going through a period of intense suffering. You feel abandoned. In the sorrowful mysteries, you don't just distract yourself. You go into the Garden of Gethsemane. You see the Son of God sweating blood from anxiety. You realize, I am not alone in this feeling. God has felt this. You move to the scourging. You move to the carrying of the cross. You see Jesus falling, face in the dirt, and then crucially, you see him get back up. This is neuroplasticity in action. You are training your brain to recognize a pattern. Suffering is followed by resurrection. Friday is followed by Sunday. By doing this every day, 20 minutes a day, You are building spiritual muscle memory. You are teaching your subconscious that your current pain is not the end of the story. It is just a chapter. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being a participant in a divine drama. This is resilience. It's not just toughing it out. It's understanding that your suffering has meaning, and that meaning gives you the strength to endure things that would otherwise break you. And then, there is the third miracle, the one that feels the most urgent right now. The miracle of fortitude. Let's be honest, we are weak. We have habits we hate but can't break. We have knots in our lives, relationships that have been tangled for decades, addictions that have their claws in us, secret sins that we keep in the dark. We try to fix them with willpower. We say, "I'll do better tomorrow." And we fail. Again and again. The Rosary is described by saints not as a comfort blanket, but as a weapon. Padre Pio called it the weapon. Why? Because it attacks the root of our weakness, the will. Praying the Rosary is a discipline. It is boring. Let's admit that. It can be repetitive and dry, but doing it anyway? That is an act of war against your own laziness. That is how you forge a will of steel. There is a specific devotion associated with this called Mary, Untire of Knots. It comes from a painting in Germany, but the idea is ancient. Think of the biggest problem in your life right now. The one you can't solve. That complex, messy, tightened knot that you've been picking at with your fingernails for years, only making it tighter. The miracle of fortitude is the realization that you cannot untie it. You are not smart enough, you are not strong enough. But there is someone who is. When you pray the Rosary, you are taking that knot and handing it to the Mother of God. You are saying, "I surrender this." And history is flooded with accounts of what happens next. The impossible alcoholic husband who suddenly puts down the bottle. The estranged child who calls out of the blue. The financial ruin that turns into a strange, unexpected provision. These aren't coincidences. These are the result of engaging a higher power to fight battles you cannot win on your own. So here is the reality. You can keep drowning in the noise. You can keep trying to medicate your anxiety and distract yourself from your pain. Or you can pick up the weapon. You don't have to be a saint to do this. You don't even have to feel holy. In fact, it works best when you feel completely empty. You just have to start. The invitation is not to believe blindly, but to test it. Treat it like an experiment. Give it 2 weeks. Commit to the rhythm. Commit to the silence. Commit to the beads. Take that anxiety, that depression, that impossible situation and thread it through the Hail Marys. Watch what happens to your breath. Watch what happens to your perspective. Watch what happens to the knots in your life. The miracles are real, but they are quiet. They don't arrive with a thunderclap. They arrive with the steady, rhythmic beat of a heart finally finding its home. Step out of the noise. Pick up the Rosary and prepare for the unexpected.